When we say the words social engineering, a lot of times people don't really understand what that means. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Right, so instead of just brute forcing and trying to push over the hardware or defeat a laptop or a personal computer or a mobile device, it's really defeating the person on the other end of the phone or the other end of the line, somehow tricking them to give information out. You might be going through their dumpsters or their trash. You might be calling some people and impersonating a trusted vendor, or physically visiting the hospital, or physically visiting the business and figuring out how it's laid out, where's the internet connection come in, and everything like that, so that you're social engineering the business and gaining information to either do the attack or to aid and abet the attack.
Right. Well, I can tell you from our perspective and our practice, just some practical examples of this. We've been called really from a ransomware scenario where people lost all of their data and didn't have it properly backed up, had to pay in Bitcoin, and still didn't know after they paid the ransom if they would not be held hostage again. That's one. Another, we know of several firms that have been spearphished into transferring money to a fraudulent account to the tune of tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And yes, insurance has covered some of that, but not nearly all of that. So from your perspective, where's the first place that organizations need to start to educate their employees about social engineering?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with risk management practices. What it starts with is making sure you've got every piece of technology inventoried, every asset inventoried, and you only got a limited number of funds. So is your risk in your email system? Is your risk in your web applications or your mobile applications? And I know the risk is everywhere, but the reality is you have limited funds. And so really getting through that risk management process, which is one of the things that we really try to focus on, so that you can then focus your limited resource. From there, that's where your training and education comes from. If you're concerned in a bank about skimming, right, then you're going to hang up some skimming posters, educate your employees about skimmers and how they work, what to look for, and build that into their visits to the ATMs. To be able to, part of the checklist is looking for skimmers. So, it really starts with risk management. If your risk is phishing, or if your risk is clickjacking, or if your risk is physical, or if your risk is, it really depends on what locations represent the most risk, what assets represent the most risk, what people represent the most risk to you. Is it in a bank? Is it loan officers or tellers? If you had to educate one of those audiences, which at your bank, for example, would be where you would start. So really cybersecurity is really a risk management process.
Right.